I mean, how many podcasts I've listened to that say similar things, and only on the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time I hear it, I'm like, oh, holy crap. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we all absorb information. It doesn't necessarily, first time it's said, you're like, I got the lesson.
Welcome to BuzzWorthy Radio. Here's your host, Novell J. Lee.
What's going on, guys? I had the pleasure of sitting down and speaking with Ray Vincent, who has been a part of the vertical scene. If you haven't checked those out, please do so. It's very addicting. So most of the time, if not all the time, these verticals, they're going to be set up like episodic clips. So one clip may last 30 seconds, another one may last a minute, another one could last up to 2, but it's basically a full feature type of movie, but each clip ends on a cliffhanger. It's so much fun. It's very soap opera centric, which is probably why I like them so much. But we got to talk about that and how it's becoming so much more mainstream when it first began. And the conversation really did take a turn, but not for the worse. It actually took one. You'll figure it out. Here's our interview with Ray Vincent. These verticals, I got to tell you.
Woo!
I've watched them.
How about that, huh?
I've watched them. I've watched quite a few.
Yeah.
And it's not a shame. It's not a shame for myself to say that I continue to swipe to watch the rest of them.
Yeah.
So I will continue to watch all of them, especially when Vertical started, guys. In case you didn't know, when they came out, you get maybe like the first 50 free, and then after that, you'd have to pay to watch the rest of it. Let's be real. I paid the rest to watch the rest of it.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that is 100% what they want you to do. You know, the more that I do, the more I accept the reality of the style of writing. It's very much specific, kind of like in a comparison, like a comedian who does stand-up. You're trying to get a joke every 15, 20 seconds to keep the rhythm of the room. It's very much the same kind of approach, but now instead of with comedy, we want a dramatic beat, some kind of cliffhanger that keeps you kind of like, what is going on? I didn't see that coming. Oh, all of a sudden I got to pay. It's fine. I'll just, whatever.
That's literally my expression. I'm going, all right, I guess I'm going to pay.
Yeah.
That's fine. It is what it is. I mean, I want to see the rest of it. It's, you're twisting my arm right now, guys.
Yeah. And they have gotten, some of them, they do get a little repetitive, for sure. And I'm kind of soft selling that, but they do have some moments that even like I've performed in whatever, so I'm watching a little bit of it, and then I'm like, wow, I'm kind of even hooked, and I know what's going to happen.
Well, you're not seeing the final edit of it, so then when you're watching it, when it's finally done,
that's true.
You're now seeing it in a different way. So
that's true, but the thing is that for the roles that I've been given, and I'm so grateful, but I'm on set so much, kind of living the whole process. In comparison to, let's say, when I was on a much larger set as a supporting role, you get to see a couple days. So going to see the final product is like, I have no idea what they did when I wasn't around. But this, I'm like, I know everything because I saw it all happening. And, but still, even with that, there's moments that I'm like, oh, that's okay. That's the one they went with. And I see what they're doing here. Oh, they've added the music. And then the certain inserts, I'm like, oh, now I see what they're building here. So
those tag scenes when right up on the faces where it's about to end, and you're just right on their face, and you're just waiting for them to say the next thing, and you're like,
yeah.
So now I got to watch the next one. Oh, the next one I have to pay for. Okay, I got to do it. I got to find out what happens next. But literally going back to that comment that you just said about some gets repetitive. I know you're saying you soft selling it. I'm not going to soft sell it. This is coming from a guy that grew up watching soaps on television.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I've watched As the World Turns, A Guy Life when I grew up. Those are my jams, and I still watch them to this day. Of the 5 that are on the air right now.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about repetitive.
Oh, totally.
You want to talk about repetitive? I've lived the life. So
no, for sure. My mom, when I grew up in Ohio, in Cleveland, and I remember coming home, and it would be all hours of the day. It didn't matter because I think at that point there was like a soap opera network, like a specific channel. So she could watch it whenever, as opposed to when I was really young and it was like, you better watch it whatever time it was on in the morning.
You didn't record it. You didn't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but I still remember then I was like, well, how are you've seen all these episodes. You're just rewatching them? Your business. It's like it was a sweet place, or a happy place. So
listen, you can tell
yeah, it does get really repetitive, but I think that's kind of that's what we want. I sometimes don't question it because I think about food in a metaphorical way. It's like, we go to the restaurant or the fast food or whatever it is on purpose because you know what you're gonna get.
It's our comfort
Go
zone
there every time to like, hey, surprise me.
Yeah, it's our comfort zone. That's why.
Yeah.
We know, we kind of make jokes about this online. A couple of my friends do on X, and we're like, we know what's gonna happen. Like we already know because we watch this so much. We already know where the story's gonna go, and we don't care.
Yeah.
We still want to see it happen because we're just sitting there going, we're used to it, but we want to see it play out in this way. So that's, and I think that's really why I think a lot of us are resonating with Vertical so much, because it follows the soap opera trope a little bit.
Oh, it totally does.
And it's just the way that it even blew up. I mean, I'm very surprised at the way that it's continuing to garner mainstream attention. And even TikTok right now, I'm getting so many notifications on TikTok saying if you wanted to have a script written for a vertical that you want to do, we could easily adapt that into this, and TikTok will XYZ, and then they'll have actors playing it, whatever. And I'm sitting here going, like, even TikTok's getting involved in it. So it's amazing how much traction it has gotten within the last couple of years.
It is amazing, but I think if you look at just how we absorb content today, it's kind of exactly on time. I mean, if you look at the history of at least like film and television, the industry follows eyeballs. And right now, all those eyeballs are looking down at their phone. And as of right now, I Googled it because I said this in a previous conversation. I was like, am I saying the right thing? But I Googled to find out that the average screen time of anyone in the United States is around 7 hours, and more specifically 9 hours for Gen Z. So a day? What?
Yeah, a day.
That's a shift at a job that you're just looking at your phone. Obviously, it's various reasons, but you're so comfortable and conditioned to staring at the phone already.
Yeah.
Now just add some content in there that isn't super big commitment. I don't have to sit down for an hour and 20 minutes to watch this thing and go on a journey. I can just be doing all kinds of things. It's a little like hors d'oeuvre at a cocktail party. Oh, thank you. I'll have one. And then you can.
It's a little appetizer.
Yeah. Like it's so convenient. So you can still be doing that kind of that rhythm of watching a story, and it's interesting and it draws you in. But then also not have to be like, I have to stop my world to just focus on this one thing. So, I think it's exactly on time, as weird as it is. So I think that's why the bigger Hollywood, what have you, streaming studios and ultimately networks are looking at it saying, okay, we have to start adjusting or at least opening up certain branches of our divisions to accommodate this new phenomenon.
It's so interesting that you're saying that it was on time, because you're right, because I think a lot of us now, we don't watch linear television anymore because everything is now on streaming. We now either are on our phones or on the computer or whatever electronic device to watch our favorite television shows at this point. And new shows are now coming out on streaming services primarily. So it's so different. I mean, for me, because I'm literally now that person, because I have, when I'm in my other office, when I'm doing other work, especially when I am sitting and getting things ready, when I'm getting ready to do a podcast and whatnot, my phone's right there and it's playing a show. If it's not playing a show, it's playing a podcast. It's something that's streaming, and that's it. I don't even watch regular television anymore, I noticed. And that's because I always had the television on to watch something new. Now it's just on if I'm putting on I'm old school, a DVD, because I still buy media. But
Yeah.
that's it. I don't watch anything new on the television anymore. If I'm watching anything new, it's always on the phone.
Yeah.
And that is really where everybody's attention is right now.
Yeah.
And it seems to be working. And it also seems to be working in the fact that you're doing this on not such a big budget. And I think that's another reason why a lot of people are paying attention to these verticals, because they're able to see how this can be done without putting a lot of money into it.
Sure. Sure.
They're probably wanting to figure out in their scope of mind, how can we capitalize on that?
Absolutely. I think that the difference is the volume. I have an acquaintance who's a kind of a big executive producer type, and he helps fund movies. But his movies are always in the millions. And so at one point we were talking about this, and I was like, "Well, you really need like 150,000 to really
Yeah.
get something done. You 200,000, and that's like a luxury budget for this." And that's but like, how do you make money? Well, the trick is you got to do it all the time. And so
Yeah.
we talk about the actor flow of doing verticals, and it's like the acting equivalent from drinking from a fire hose. I mean, you have to be moving very fast, ability to adapt. One day you're a mafia guy, the next day you're a CEO, and then after that you're a prince. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You don't have the luxury of like, I have all this time to focus on whether you're on the funding side, producing side, acting side. Either way, you're spending what could be months at a time, if not the majority of a year, working on one project because it costs this much money. And then your result, hopefully, if it does well, is millions and millions of dollars. And so, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
But this, because you can only yield so much because there was such a smaller investment up front, you got to be doing it all the time. So
Yeah.
it's like acting. It's not for the faint of heart, and you have to be willing
It's not for the weak.
to go for it. Yeah, it really isn't. And it's so funny. I listen to a lot of like older generations, like Orson Welles, for example, and
Mhm.
it's never changed. Never changed. They all say the same thing. It is the toughest business to try to get into and be successful at.
You probably have a story about that. I kind of understand it. I may have heard it wrong, but I feel like you kind of had to do that on your own, because it was like I heard you on a podcast and you were saying about how you pretty much just had to, if no one was going to hire me, or if no one was going to look at my work, or if no one was going to tell me to act, I'm just going to do it myself.
That is 100% true. I mean, I just got to a place where I was tired of questioning all of my hard work and effort and just self-awareness. I mean, I've done several performances, whether in a short film or whatnot, or if it was live even, and I have the reverberation of somebody else's emotion, and I'm like, they felt something. I was able
Hmm.
to create this moment. But then I go into casting world and they don't even look at me. And it's like, why?
Oh, that's interesting.
And then you start learning. I mean, David Mamet in one of his books is called True and False, which is like a very simple acting book, but he references that, that is a occupation that the goal is to make the best decisions possible. So you minimize your risk, you maximize your return, you want to keep your job, you want to keep your boss happy. It's
Yeah.
not about finding who's right for the role or taking a chance. It's about who just like easily fits in, makes me look good. Here's Chris Hemsworth. Okay, let's do him again and again. It's just, you know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
if you're that guy, then great. But I wasn't, and it just seemed like it just was like, okay, what am I going to do? So I was like, okay, what am I interested in? I can do this. I don't
Mm.
need to have gone to school and have someone taught me or teach me how to write a script or be a filmmaker. I just was like, what would that person do? There's I can't remember who says it, but they talk about if you don't know, just pretend you're someone who does. And I think that's what I started to do. I was like, I do know how to do this. I just, and I was like asking for help. Look at a YouTube tutorial, read this book, whatever. Save the Cat is a great script writing book. And so I did that and I just got to work. And then I had to learn a lot of other stuff, to elaborate a little bit more, I suppose, is when I wrote this film after I shot it, then I had to figure out how the film festival world worked and like work
Okay.
Well, so that's a whole different thing. I thought it was just you submit and, if they like it, cool. But it's also like casting. Who was attached? How are you going to make my festival get more press? So ultimately, I get more submissions. So ultimately, I make more money. I mean, everything is like that. So you have to really take the bull by the horns and be a very self-starter and not wait. It's very important. Just can't wait.
I Can I elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure.
And I love how I just asked you permission, considering it's my show. But but I like to be respectful.
Well, I appreciate it. And absolutely. Please elaborate.
But no, just listening to that, you don't have a lot of people that want to take that risk. I mean, I feel that there's a fear there, and I love the fact that you said that you knew what you wanted to do. You knew that the only person that was going to make this happen is you. And I think that's a really big deterrent in this industry, whether you are an actor, whether you are someone in my field, because of that imposter syndrome keeps coming in. And it's a big conversation I've been having on my show recently where we're all feeling this, but it's also no one's going to have faith in you but you. And you
Abs-
had taken that determination, you took that will and you made shit happen. And look where you're at right now. I think that a lot of people need to really believe in themselves and really take that initiative in order to make it happen the way that you did. And not everybody is going to have, unfortunately, that skill set, but I think people do have it deep down. It's just I don't think no one knows how to act on it.
I agree. I think acting on it is the biggest problem for most people. I mean, I remember going to school in Cleveland and I was taking theater classes, and there was one kid in particular who I thought, man, he's just got it. And we were young too, and to have that at such a young age that, because there's a lot of roles and plays that like you have to have lived life on a certain level or a certain many years in order
Yeah.
to can play Willie Loman or something like that. A kid can't do that. But this kid had this like wisdom of many lives. And, you know, the saddest thing about it is that after I moved out, and I moved to New York first before I ultimately landed in LA, and I kept up with him for years. And we would have these 2 hour long conversations. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? You have this gift.
Mhm.
Great moment in the end of Good Will Hunting. He's like, you're sitting on a lottery ticket and you're too scared to cash it in. It's like that. And he never did. He never was able to get past that. So I know it's a big problem. It's really unfortunate. My mother, I believe she was partly that way, I think, because she was a photographer and a painter. And but she could only see with this boundary, with these blinders on of like her perspective, her reality. You
Yeah.
have to be able to like dream so big and then see all that actually happening and then be willing to take action in order to get there, which is something that I learned early on because I watched that in that kid I was talking about in school and in my own mother. And I was like, you have to go to these places in order to be seen, to show that you can do this stuff. And this is how it works. A buddy of mine says this phrase all the time, and I always quote him. Um, you're not a needle in a haystack. You're a needle in a stack of needles. There are thousands of you. So
Yeah.
you have to figure out a way for you to stand out. So when they're looking, they choose you over all the other people and all the other needles that look just like you.
Yep.
You have to really, especially when you're not from it. I'm not from here. And in 10 years of being here, I can see that some people who grew up in this world, they kind of have an invitation to sit at the table, you know? It's just the way it is. And
Eh,
I'm not envious of it, but I'm not naive. And I can see that. And so I know that for my life and the lane that I get to drive in, I got to do a lot more work. And that's just the way it is. So I can cry about it. I can sit and be a good boy and be in hope that someone just picks me, or I can just decide to just take action. And that's what I've decided.
I had this conversation with also a buddy of mine because one of the things that we talked about was he just started his podcast almost a year and a half ago now. It's going to be 2 years. And we got into the conversation where I even mentioned basically what you just said, and how I'm going to be generous, 10 years ago, because I've been doing this now for 20 years. So I started in '06,
Mm,
and I never really did any more with the show than what I could have possibly done with it once podcasts started really becoming as popular and as mainstream as it became around that time span. And I think it was because I also, one, didn't treat it as a business, but two, I really did not see myself as somebody who could do something like that. I
mm,
didn't think I would be able to, and that's where my imposter syndrome came in, to where I did not think I was good enough to make that happen. I did not think that I would be able to be looked at to where I would be respected or I would have a seat at the table. And at one point, I felt like I didn't deserve a seat at the table. Let's go back 3 years ago. Shortly after COVID, everything started opening up. People went back to work, and people came up and asked me, "Why are you not podcasting anymore?" Because I actually stopped
mm,
in like late 2019, basically shortly right before COVID happened and the lockdown took place, and nothing was happening. So I did stop the show, and I was gone for about 2 years. And then people started coming back to me and saying, "Why are you not podcasting? Why are you not doing new shows? What's going on?" And I was
mm,
sitting in my head going, I just don't feel like I have the time to do it. I don't think I can do it, get back into it. When I got back into it and started really focusing on the show and then pushing it in such a way where it could be a great return on investment,
mm,
and then treating it as a business, but then also making those relationships happen and building those relationships, not just within the industry, but also those that listen to the show, and then meeting people and getting my face out there, and then introducing myself in worlds that I did not think that I could ever attend.
mm,
It brought up a whole different spectrum for me, because when you said that you need to put your face out there, I never imagined myself going to Tribeca Festival in New York. I never thought I would be at Santa Barbara International Film Festival. I never thought I'd be invited to South by Southwest. I never thought I would be covering a lot of these red carpet events where I'd be seeing all of these people that are literally A-listers in my life. And
right.
the fact that it's happened because I made that jump to basically get on the plane and go, or introduce myself so they know me and they've seen my work and they respect my work. And
Yeah.
now I'm putting myself out there so that they know that if my name pops up, they automatically go, "Oh, we got to have Nobel here. We got to have this guy here."
Yeah.
That, as you said, that wasn't going to happen if I was just going to sit there and just wait for it to happen. You had to go out and make it happen yourself.
Yeah.
You can't. Yes, I understand where one can sit there and say, "I'm just going to sit here and cry about it." I've probably done it myself, and that's why I say I understand it. But I also learned, like you, I can't be naive to that. No one's going to give me a seat at the table if I don't work to get the seat at the table. And that's what I've done, and that's what I continue to do. I'm still learning, I'm still evolving, but the thing of it is, I'm taking what I have learned, I'm evolving from everything that I have done to make myself better, to keep getting invited back, and to keep my seat at the table, and not just keep my seat at the table, but also make my own table.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And everything that you just said, I love all of it, but I think the one thing that's the most important is that you decided that you're going to do this. And I think for so many people, that's sometimes all it takes to get started. Just make the decision and trust that you're going to figure it out. I would always refer back to this thought when I had tough things coming up in my life or
yeah.
opportunities to go into the unknown. And I would say, well, I made it this far. And there's been
Mhm.
way more difficult things I went through for different reasons, some emotional, personal, friends, family, whatever. But I made it through that. So why would I start doubting myself now? What good is that? And whose voice is that actually? I don't even know who that person is. That's not how I behave. That's not how I live my life. It's just all these little fear things that start popping up. And that's the reality, is that
That's a big thing though, because I feel that you went through all of this, and I'm just saying like the royal you, that's not just you.
oh, yeah, of
Anybody
course.
that's
Yeah.
listening to this, going through any type of trials and tribulations, and you survive that.
Yeah.
And it's something like this where you're now at a setback and going, I can't do this. But
Yeah.
you went and you overcame this.
Yeah. And I'm sure that anybody that's listening to this right now could think about a time in their life where something wild happened.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what it is, but I guarantee if you put it on a scale and weight it to just like, oh, I didn't book a job or this isn't working out. It's nothing in comparison to what you already went through. So that's where I'm always like, it's not that serious. You're gonna be
Yeah,
fine.
it's not that serious. It's
We can fall on our face and we'll just get up.
we'll just get right back up.
No
I
big
mean,
deal.
I it is a topic that I always talk about here on the show, and I love getting to talk about it, especially since we're still celebrating June for Men's Mental Health Month,
Mm,
and I have had a mental health breakdown. I've had it happen, and this was 4 years ago, and it's one of those things, as you said, this happened to me. I'm not going to let it define me,
right.
but also I went through that. I lived through that. I talked with people and got through it. If I couldn't do this, and this was like shortly before I started back in the podcast scope full time again. And I think that was also one of the reasons why I did it, is because when I had the breakdown, I realized what was important to me. This was
Mm,
important to me. This was one of those things that having the podcast in my life was it it was a release, and it is a release. And I get to be myself. I get to have fun. I get to talk to people in front and behind the camera in a genre that I love to talk about. And it's just been so freeing for me. So I'm never stressed when I get that microphone right in front of my face. And I
right.
think that's one of the things I missed. And I realized that after the breakdown, and I'm taking away things because of a job that's willing to replace me if I were to fall and not get back up ever again.
Right.
Why am I giving up something that I love and I'm passionate about for this reason? There's no reason for that. And why am I not putting myself first?
Right.
And that was the other thing. I'm not putting myself first. And then once that happened, I had to look, and it's one of the best things ever in my life when I got laid off from that job, is that I
Yeah.
really was able to sit there and go, what's the priority? This was one of them, if not the number one of the priorities. And I really put most of my focus, if not all my focus, back into it. And it's been the best thing that's ever happened ever
Yeah.
since then. And then just getting back up and doing this again, finding the groove, and just continuing to go through with it. It's
Mhm.
it's one of, if not the best thing or the best decision I've ever made. And
Yeah.
I always look back at that, at that time where I go, no, this was not a bad time of my life. I'm not going to say that. Yes, a bad thing happened, but it did not define my life or ruin my life. If
Right.
anything, it put me on a trajectory to make my life better.
Absolutely. And you know what? So good for you that you were able to shift your perspective instead of just saying, oh, this moment occurred. Doesn't matter the details, but something occurred. And then you get to either be the victim and say, well, this happened. And so this is my life now, or this is how I behave, or this is how I look at it. Or you can say, well, this happened and it happened because now I get to go do this.
Yeah,
And this isn't a problem. This is actually, we're going up.
we're moving
This is
up.
actually good. But it's really up to the individual to decide and to look at it and say, this is either this, or I can look at it like, oh, my life to change for the positive. My mother passed away, it'll be 9 years ago, this past May 31st. And, you know, I remember that moment so vividly,
Sure.
really intense. And inside the storm of emotions that I was experiencing with the day and the days to follow from her passing before she was actually, ultimately buried.
Mm,
Um, I remember thinking, I have a choice right now, and I can either be leading with the victim narrative
yeah.
and telling everyone that my mother died, feel bad for me, all these things, or I can look at it and say, I am so fortunate that I got to have this person in my life to give me so much love and guidance. And now I get to go take all that and go out and give more to the world and kind of like bounce from this moment. And it's a beautiful thing. As much as I miss her and all those things, of course, that
Sure.
doesn't change, but I could choose. And I was so aware in that moment when I had that thought, and I was like, this is gonna be a positive.
Yeah.
Watching my mother pass away and looking at her life as something to live up to, and all the things that she did and all the people she touched, and these memories that were made, like, go do that, go get busy. This to be inspired right now.
Yeah.
And so again, in what you're saying, I think it's really about being able to shift your perspective and how you're looking at the situation, any situation, and finding the strength, finding the light, finding the positive moment, and then let that carry you in with that momentum. So good for you, man. I love that. I'm so happy you're able to do that and
I
not
appreciate I appreciate
still
that.
telling that, because somebody else might have had that same situation or something close, and all this time later, today, someone somewhere is probably telling the story still with the narrative like, yeah, that happened, and so that was over, and now I
Yeah.
do this, and I'm still the victim of that thing. It's
Yeah.
totally a decision. So
They're victim
love
blaming
that.
still, and
Yeah,
I appreciate what you said because that is true. It doesn't matter if it's 500 or just 5 or just 1, and they hear this story and they get inspired by it going, "I didn't realize that he went through something like this.
yeah,
He can do it. If he can make it through, who's to say I can't make it through?"
yeah,
And that's the thing that I keep hitting about when you said that previously about how they could go this one way where they are victim blaming themselves, or they can get up and they can make the best out of it and find the positive and then just go for it. I feel like a lot of people won't go the latter. They'll always go on the victim route because I feel like
yeah.
that's so
Well,
easy
it's comfortable. I mean,
and
who
it's
doesn't
comfortable.
want the attention that a victim gets? I see why someone would do it. But and I want to say this for anybody who might be listening, who might hear this at any time, that I'm not like from this situation where like I'm a tough dude or anything. There's been many moments in my life where I was faced with these things, and sometimes I did go that way. But I learned I didn't like where it took me. I didn't like
Yeah.
where or how I felt. I felt like I was pandering to someone's sympathy. It wasn't genuine. And so I started to say, okay, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna find out how to be tough in these moments.
Yeah.
Or be strong, whatever the word you want to use. But so I
You're going to
said,
be resilient. You're going to be resilient. I think that's the key.
yeah, yeah, I think, yeah. But I think what I'm trying to say is that for anybody who may be listening and thinking that, well, it takes a certain type of person. It doesn't, because I wasn't at one point, and I decided I'm gonna change, and I did. And so anyone can do it, is what I'm saying.
No, I 100% agree. It's really up to you as the person. It doesn't matter
Absolutely.
what type of person you are. It's up to
Yeah.
you to make that change. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big thing. And I really appreciate that this conversation, to be quite honest with you, because
No, absolutely.
I always like to talk about this, and especially with topics like that with my guests whenever it does come up, and getting to have people listen to that because again, it you might be going through this and hopefully we're helping you. So
Yeah.
hopefully you take something from this, and that's all I ask, and that's all
Yeah.
I want. So,
Yeah. I've always found that leading by example is much more effective than trying to tell someone what to do. you know?
I don't like that at all because I don't like telling people what to do. And I know that there have been, at least in my time and who I've talked to, that's happened. And
Mhm.
I'm totally against it. I am never one to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
I'm here as an ear, two, as a guide,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to tell you what to do. Not
Right.
going to tell you what to do because if I do tell you what to do, I feel like that's going to work in reverse.
Oh, totally.
So,
Totally. And then you start to get into the world of like, well, I told you, and then you didn't listen. Now you're like resentful. It's a weird.
yeah.
So as someone who's been a friend or a guide or any of these things, at best I'm a mirror. I listen very well, and I'll just kind of say, well, this is what you're saying, pose a question to let you find your own answer. I mean, how many podcasts I've listened to that say similar things, and only on the seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th time I hear it, I'm like, oh, holy crap. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we all absorb information. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily, first time it's said, you're like, I got the lesson.
Yeah.
I read Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, and
Oh,
uh,
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm on like my third pass through it, and I'm still like discovering things. Like, what? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. That's a good way.
That's how
That's
that works.
what I was doing. But the first time I just breezed right past that. Didn't even register. So
Mm.
so I just think that's just the way it is.
I don't know why though. I mean, it's such a valid thing that you just said because I'm probably done that myself.
Oh,
I'm
sure. I have.
just going right through it and I'm not even paying attention and then all of a sudden it has to hit me like a ton of bricks to finally get it and I'm going, "Oh,
Yeah.
so
And
yeah, now you're
like in
listening
that
to me."
moment where there's like a
Now you're getting it.
yeah. Like when everything is actually like the ground is moved now. Like, okay. But
My
otherwise,
friend
like
Kim is like that. She'll literally be like, she'll tell me something and I won't listen, and then all of a sudden something happens to where, oh, did you know that? And she was like, I told
yeah,
you that
exactly.
weeks ago.
Exactly.
And it's nice to be proven I was right. And that's what she'll say to me.
Yeah.
That's literally how she'll say it to me. And I'm going like, all right, I can't. I can't even lie my way out of this anymore.
Yeah.
So, that's the way it is. But I do have to ask that guitar that's in the background there. I'm going to
Oh,
assume it's
yeah.
yours and you play music. And if so, what kind of music? What genre is it?
So from Cleveland, Ohio. It's a big classic rock scene growing up there.
Yes.
I've always been a big fan of that era of music, whether it was like the Rolling Stones to the Jay Giles Band to Steely Dan, or even like heavier stuff like Metallica. I've always been into that.
Uh, I'll go
So I
Metallica all
wrote,
day, but go on.
yeah, I went to. I want to go them see them at the Sphere this year at the end of the year when they open up there.
Jealous.
Saw them at SoFi a couple years ago, which was amazing. But
Also
anyway,
jealous.
so I wrote this movie about Peter Wolf, who was the front man for the Jay Giles Band, and in that process, I was like, you know what? I can't sing, I can't play any music, but
Mm,
I like this so much. I really want to start exploring it. So ultimately, I didn't play any instrument in the film. I actually hired a band and we kind of made some stuff up together, which was really fun. But I bought this because I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to learn how to play. And so I kind of got like Smoke on the Water, which is very simple. But that's kind of it right now. But I have it here just just to kind of get some movement going. Even sometimes, to be honest, like I don't know what I'm doing with it, but I
mm.
will strum along and it kind of like starts to unwind thoughts.
Find a rhythm somewhere.
Well, it's not even that I'm focused on it. It's just like a
Oh,
to do of movement that now I'm out of whatever thought into another thought.
oh,
Almost
interesting.
distraction, I suppose. But have you ever done and
Not
this
a
is
bad distraction.
no, not at all. Have you ever done a labyrinth before? Are you familiar
No,
what I
but I'm
mean?
familiar with it. Yes.
So the one that they have that's relatively close to where I am, it's just outside of downtown LA. It's called the Peace and Awareness Labyrinth. And it once was a vineyard in like, let's say 1900 or something. And now they've kind of restored and now they have it as this meditation garden.
Mm-hmm.
In the garden, they have what is like 100 or so uh, foot circumference circle. Like it's just flat. It's just tile on the ground. And in the
Okay.
middle of it has this white tile. It's about, I don't know, a foot or so wide. And then the tile goes in this zigzag and it keeps zigzagging. And ultimately you get all the way to the center. And so the idea is that you walk on the tile and you don't go out of the boundaries. You honor it with integrity. And
Right.
then you get to the middle and when you can set like, an intention or something. So anyway, the reason I'm connecting the two
Mm-hmm.
is that I went there and I kind of was feeling a bit lost on life. And I started walking this path. And what was happening without my permission or even realizing it, it was like a tether ball that was just so tight to the pole. And as I walked this path, it just started unraveling and becoming wider in its rotations and wider.
Yeah.
And by the time I got to the middle, and keep in mind, I am outside. There are no walls. Anyone
Right.
I can see me. I was completely emotional, just crying, not hysterically, but I couldn't stop myself.
Sure.
And there was something that I had learned like about uh moving on or holding on to things when something's over that I was like, oh, this is what is a big my held up right now. What's holding me back? Because when I got to the center, I was one step away from standing directly in the middle. And I
Mm.
couldn't do it. I could not do it. And it was just this wild emotional thing until I finally did. And then like I was like, oh, I just hit a checkpoint in life. Now I'm on a new path from this moment on. This is wild. So anyway, I connect all of it because sometimes you have to just like unwind a little bit and then you can carry on. And so the guitar sometimes can help me do that in a less profound way. But
Yeah. I don't have a guitar, but music does help me unwind a lot. And I kind of get the part where I lost my grandmother. It'll be 10
mm,
years this November. And there also were unresolved feelings that I had.
mm,
Now, and I don't mean that in a negative way. My grandmother was my best friend. And,
right.
and I could tell her anything. There were things I could tell her that I couldn't tell my mom.
Right.
and that was that relationship. But when she passed, it was one of those things like right before it happened, I said something, and this is why I'm saying unresolved. It's because I said to her that I think we're all gonna feel a sense of something. I can't remember exactly what the word is, but basically we don't know how we're gonna live without you. It is basically in that context.
Mm,
So when I visit her the next day after that, it just went from where it seemed like she was doing okay to where it just went downhill right
yeah.
away, like right
Yeah.
away. And she literally was gone within the next 2.5 days. And a
Mm,
part of me, I had that, I had that guilt that I felt that I was the reason that her health took a turn for the worse really rapidly because of what I said to her. And
mm,
that had been something that had been in my mind as an unresolved emotion that I could never get past. And I don't think I could, and there was at points where I didn't feel like I could ever forgive myself because I felt like I was to blame. And I may not have done the labyrinth, but there were instances where where I went and visited her grave. And I
mm,
went and I had to have that conversation, and I'm outside, I'm talking out loud as if she were standing there in front of me, and there
mm.
could be people around me hearing my conversation and looking at me like I'm 10 times crazy because I'm talking to nobody in their view anyway. But I was talking to somebody in my mind.
Mm,
And but it got to a point where was able to finally release. I was crying, not emotionally either, but I know exactly what you mean by the crying part, not hysterically, but also to a point where it was enough to
Yeah.
where, yeah, it needed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what it is. It's like, this has been bottled up and
This has been bottled up and now it's now Mount Rushmore.
yeah.
And it's like, it's now, it's not going to stop until I plug up the dam, guys.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then when that happened the next night, and I remember this vividly to this day, I had a dream about her. Like, it was clear as day. Like, I saw her. I was like walking into this place. It definitely looked like heaven-ish.
Mm,
And I see her. She's looking like how she looked in this picture that I found in my mom's bedroom. It was of her and her two sisters, my grandmom and her two sisters.
right.
And she was in that same dress, like legit exact same dress. She looks at me, she smiles, that smile, the same smile. And all I had in the dream, she gives me this hug, and all she says to me in the dream is, I'm okay.
Oh,
And as soon as that happened, that's where the part where you said, this is going to put me on this path now. That's when it put me on the path as soon as I had that dream. Because when I heard her in that dream and she said to me, I'm okay, I literally was able to wake up from that and say, I can forgive myself now.
wow. That's beautiful.
Never
That's
told anybody that story, especially on this show. This is the first
wow.
time I've ever said that out loud.
Well, I feel very honored to be a part of that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And it's not a struggle anymore. And it was a struggle. But now but yeah, when it happened, it was because I related to your story so much. I was like, oh my God, I need to share this because I'm totally understanding exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a powerful thing. And it's almost even more beautiful when like you're not even looking for it.
Right.
I mean, like it comes to you and you're like, oh, and there's something about that it's just like, wow, it's undeniable. It's such a enormous shift. So well, that's a beautiful story, and I really appreciate you sharing that with me.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that it happened. You know, that
I
it
I I am too,
carry
because
on, and
I don't
and I
know how I would have felt if it didn't, and
sure,
that's the other thing. It kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Like, how could it would that have been the moment where it
mhm.
could have basically made me feel some type of way as victim shaming myself and I couldn't put
Yeah,
myself on that trajectory? Would that have been the moment if that did not happen? Then the mental breakdown part of it that I mentioned
yeah,
earlier, we will never know. But
yeah,
I love the fact, as you said, that it happened because, as you said, it did not happen to where I was expecting it. It happened.
right,
I
yeah,
was just
yeah,
I do look at it and I go, I think she knew, and she had to come and see me in my dreams in
yeah,
order to make sure she could let me know not to blame myself
yeah,
and let me know that she is okay where she is. And I know that she's in heaven looking down at me and proud of me and everything going forward.
yeah,
It's just that's that's something that I always will remember at times where I feel like I'm getting down on myself a little bit,
hmm,
and then I just shoot back to that moment, and I'm going, "What am I doing? What am I doing?
yeah,
No, get right back up, man. Get right back up. She's looking down at you right now. Come on, get back up and kick ass, man. That like you
right,
normally do." So I think
yeah,
that having that, I think that's also really been a big it's something that I always keep with me, and I always carry that with me when I know I'm about to kick ass at something or when I need something in my mind where I'm going. If I'm going into it, I don't feel 100% confident, but I still have a little bit of confidence where I'm
yeah.
going like I can kick ass in this, but not fully sure. Then
Oh, totally.
I have that in my head, and then
It's a little juice to get you through
it
it. I mean,
is. It
it's
puts
hard to be completely available and present and ready for every moment that life serves you up. And so I have a couple of things that I think of when I get to those moments. I mean, I'll give you one. It's a little off the subject, but also something I
okay.
do. There's been times in my life that I was absolutely petrified of public speaking. And so I would be at a seminar or
Yeah.
some kind of thing. They get to the Q&A part of the thing. Anybody in the audience can stand up. So let's say I'm auditorium. There's 150 other people. It is dark. All the light is on the stage. I'm in the back row, and I have the thought to raise my hand and ask a question. Just that alone put me in like freaking out. Like I'm doing
Sure.
this. And then all of a sudden the moment's over and I didn't even raise my hand. And I was like, you know what? I have to change this because I don't want to live my life that way. I don't want to let my light be dimmed down because I have this whatever thing going on in me that's a little bit afraid of public speaking or whatever, saying something stupid. And so I started to kind of reprogram how I looked at life and how I looked at these things. When that feeling would come up, I would say, I love this. I love this. I love this. And so
Yeah.
while I'm experiencing that nervous freak out in my chest, I keep telling myself, I love this. So now I've done it so many times that when I'd say a more recent thing, I went to this award show. I had no idea that this was going to happen, but a show, a vertical that I was in, won
Mhm.
an award, but it was for the producer. They were receiving the award. Although when they announced the award, there was a big thumbnail that they put on the projector of the movie theater, and it was my face and this girl's face. And
Okay.
the producer got up there and she said, Ryan and Jess, would you please come down? And so all of a sudden I'm just going down there. And then I don't know, maybe because her English was poor, I don't know, but she just kind of handed me the microphone. So I already had set up this firewall in my head. So in the second half, and now I have a microphone, and now I have to speak, and I had no idea that I was even going to be doing this. And then
Yeah.
my nervous thing kicked in, but then that firewall that I set up is saying, you love this. So as it all comes here, I just was fluid, and it just came right out. So again, this goes back to just noticing things and deciding, do I like this? Do I not like this? What am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
And in making those decisions, I'm this moment, this thing happened, and I like it. I don't like it. I'm going to go in this direction. And so I know it's not exactly from what your story was, but it's in the same world of how
No,
we
I
could
appreciate it.
survive these things and we can carry on and we don't have to be defined by our upbringings or where we live or the friends that we had. We can
Right.
change at any given moment. If you want to, you can. You're still here. You still have time. You can still give it your best. And I guarantee you'll probably surprise yourself.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I can look back at just my childhood and having moments where I thought I was completely defined by my circumstances, which
Right.
weren't wonderful.
Right.
They weren't big money and all that stuff. So I remember that. And then, when I started announcing to people that were in that world, those friends and family, whatever, that I'm going to move to New York City, there was a few that looked at me like I was crazy.
Oh, sure.
They were projecting their vision, their blinders that they have, their reality of like, well, I can't leave. How could you leave? You have nothing.
Right.
What are you going to do for work? How are you going to survive? It doesn't make sense. But I didn't care. And I just was going to do it anyway. So, you know what I mean?
Took me a long time to understand that in life, especially when I started this show. There weren't many people who I thought would support it
Yeah.
until after until after they started seeing what was happening from it. And the one thing I say about that is I see you now that you're
Mm,
supporting me and I thank you, but don't think I forgot.
yeah.
So that's the other thing. So I look at that with different colored glasses when I see that because I do remember. but I
Yeah.
also but I
I
also but I also use that as a way of not being bitter anymore. But now I do look at it and I kind of had to reevaluate a little bit because I do understand that there were people that really didn't follow it in the beginning because I never really promoted it.
yeah.
And I never really explained it to them and what I do. So I kind of had to I kind of had to sit back and go, well, this wasn't entirely all of their fault. I kind of had a hand in it because I didn't talk to you about it. I didn't tell you that this was what was going on. And now that I've done that, I now use that as a vote of confidence because they are really showing up for me, and I really do appreciate that. They're complimenting the work, or they're telling me what can be done, or what more I can do, or how they can help me, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera. And it's now not coming from a place of they're trying to get involved in it just because they want to get something out of it. They're wanting to help because they care for what I'm doing. And I think that's
Right.
a really big difference.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that in the beginning, and that's how I took it before. But now seeing where they're coming from, that's why my mind shifted. And that's another reason why I feel that I had to own up to my own thoughts and mistakes with that because I wasn't thinking that way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
In Stoicism, they talk about a rock on a beach, like a boulder, and all day long, forever, the waves will continue to come in and smash into the rock, and then they pull back out, and they do it again. And in a metaphor, it's just that's what life is. There's going
Yeah.
to be moments where it's clear, and then the tide will come in and smash in your face, and that's just
Yes.
but yet the boulder doesn't do anything. The boulder remains. The boulder stays calm. It doesn't change. And so sometimes I'm just like, it's just expect it to happen. That I'm going to
Yeah.
pursue this, and someone's going to think it's dope, and someone's going to hate me for it because it's their own insecurities and they're jealous or whatever it is, or they just don't like me or whatever. And it's fine. I'm right here, and I
I'm
know,
here for the ride.
and it's going to come in and out, and it's all good.
Yep.
So
I'm here for the ride, man. That's how I look at things now. I'm
yeah,
here for the ride, wherever it takes me. I'm just
yeah,
gonna enjoy it.
yeah.
And this was freaking great. I can't believe we did an hour, and I'm not mad at it.
He's fluid without even thinking about it. Hour.
I looked at the time and I was like, no, this is an hour.
Like, this is a hard hour. Yeah.
This was literally on the dot an hour, and I haven't done a lot of these where it's an hour like this, and it's nice because, and I say that because we really were just into the conversation, and when it's like that, you don't realize that an hour passes. So I respect it, and I loved
Respect
it,
that.
and I really hope you come back.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope I come back with I have some more things. I have a couple other shows that are coming out as far as the vertical stuff. I have some auditions. I had something that kind of offered, which was great. That was just yesterday. And then today, I just got an audition that I'll be doing tomorrow for a show. It's doing season 2. It's called Big Mistake, I believe.
Oh, Netflix.
Yeah. It's
The show, and if you haven't seen it, please watch it. The show is with Dan Levy, who you
yes,
may
Dan Levy
would
looks
love
great.
from Schitt's
Yeah.
Creek. So please check that out.
Yeah. So yeah, but I'll be putting something together for that tomorrow. So hopefully we get some good news and we have more things to talk about.
Yes, sir. Best of luck, man. And like I
Yeah.
said, doors always open.
Yes, and I'm always looking, I'll end it on this.
Yes.
Where someone talked about the red car theory. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. And for
Mhm.
those who aren't, it's, you go from point A to point B and you drove there, and then you arrive at point B, and I ask you, how many red cars did you see? Chances are you're not going to have an answer because you weren't paying attention. Now replace the red car with opportunity, and you'll realize that opportunities are always going by you. Just start paying attention.
Interesting.
You will see.
Interesting. All
So,
right. I like that. Didn't think of it, but now
yeah.
I'm gonna think of it this way when next
Yeah,
time
yeah.
I'm
No,
freeway.
listen, it can open your mind. It can open your
Yeah.
eyes, seeing life and opportunities that,
Pass you by is
sometimes
right.
it's like, there is the red car. It's a Corvette. How could you miss it? It's bright red. But then
Yeah.
there was like 10 other red cars you didn't even see because they're more subtle. It's a different shade of red or whatever. So maybe it's a different shade of an opportunity. It's not as the one that you wanted. The director walks up to me while I'm having lunch and they say, "You're perfect. You're in my movie." Like, probably not going to happen, but maybe
Yeah.
it was that guy and they're going to connect. And if you know what I mean? Like, there are opportunities. So keep your eyes open and take action.
Well, I know you will. So
I definitely
definitely.
will.
Yes, you will. And we're going to be back here talking about them once they happen.
Yeah. Before my mom passed, she would always say the quote from Shawshank Redemption that
Oh, good movie.
it's a great movie, and she would say,
Oh, yes.
either get busy living or get busy dying.
Yep.
Yeah, I often think about that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Fa- favorite movie. Favorite movie. Great way to end this show. Ryan, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. I really appreciate you having me on, and this was such a great conversation, and so I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Thanks for tuning in to The Buzz. Catch all episodes on Spotify. Remember to like and subscribe. Visit buzzworthyradiocast.com.